Hi and welcome. We're going to have a little tutorial here. This is an optional one, but we're going to teach you how to do split screen two player. So at the moment, if I press play, we have one car in the screen and we've also got one camera that is tracking what it's doing. But what would happen if I put a second car in? So let's zoom into where our car is. If I went back to car tutorial, car, prefabs, and dragged in the car, we've got a second car. Great. Press play, and we are going to see. That's not helpful. So first things first, we need to put a camera on this car. So I can copy and paste, or I can just right click camera and drag it onto this car. So there's a camera on each car. And let's get the same numbers. 0, 2.3 minus 6. So we've got a camera on each one. If I press play now, do is I can switch off the cameras to see which one I'm looking at. But that's also not particularly useful. We want people to play at the same time. So if I go to my car 1, down in the viewport rectangle, this is actually going to show where on the screen and how big the camera is going to show up. So if I change this to 0.5, you're seeing this tiny little camera preview down here that we're only seeing half the width of the camera. And if I press play now, there you go, it's showing that there, which is, well, not hugely useful. What we also need to do then is put this one to also be half width, but to actually start from halfway along the X. Make sure they're both ticked. Now when I press play, we have two cars, one in each camera. But we're still controlling both cars. To do is set up a different set of controls. Now, our first car, we are going to leave it using the car user control script. Now, this can be found in assets, car tutorial, car, and scripts. Car user control. Now, what I'm going to do is I'm going to double click to open this script. I'm going to have a quick look at the script to see what is in it. While it loads up. Okay, so a lot of this stuff you don't need to worry hugely about. You do need to worry about the public class car user control. This is the name of the class and it's related to the script. So we are going to have to change this one when we do a new script. We still want these bits in because we still need to be accessing the car controller. This bit down here, float horizontal and float vertical, this is connecting to the actual controls on the keyboard. So vertical means forward and back for moving forward and braking. Horizontal means left and right. But because it's horizontal and not left, we need to actually set a different horizontal than just left and right on the keyboard. Otherwise it's not going to know to turn either left or right. So first things first, go back to Unity and we're going to edit our project settings and input. And here you've got all of the different pre-built controls. So horizontal and vertical, so left and right turning and forward and back for acceleration and brake. All your fire ones, your jump, your mouse moving, all sorts of things like that. And you'll notice there is duplicates of some of these because they are able to be used by joysticks as well. But we're mostly going to look at horizontal first. And I'm going to right click on the word horizontal and duplicate it. And this one I'm going to call horizontal P2. So horizontal for player 2. And player 2 is going to use A and D. And you'll notice I'm actually getting rid of the alternative buttons. I need to do the same up here, because otherwise A and D is going to control both cards. So horizontal has left and right in the negative and positive, and horizontal P2 has A and D, because we can use W, A, S and D for player 2. Going to make those smaller again. Then vertical 2, we duplicate that one as well. Vertical P2, we want this to be S for the negative, W for the positive. And this one here needs to not have the alternatives. So now you've got two completely different axes to be able to move on. So horizontal and vertical, with different names controlled by different keys. The last thing I need to do before going back to the scripting area is I'm going to create a new script. You can put it wherever you want, but I'm keeping it in my other scripts. So C# script, and I'm going to call it player 2 car control. And double click to open that. There we go. So we've got all the other scripts I've been using. We've got the car user controls and player 2 car controller. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to put a lot of these things back in. So lines 5 to 7 about the namespace, I'm going to put that back in to this one. I'm going to leave the public class because this is related to the name of the script. I'm going to leave that as it is. And then after that, I'm going to take everything that's after it and copy it and replace it, everything that was already in the script. Now you need to be careful that you don't end up with 2 brackets. So I've ended up with 2 curly brackets here. You don't need to because it won't match up. Delete that, and then all of the scripts will be going into it. The last thing I need to do is, instead of it just being horizontal, it needs to be horizontal P2. So this is relating to the input manager we used, vertical P2. Everything else stays the same. We don't really need a handbrake, so I'm going to leave that as it is. Pressing space will handbrake both cars, but we'll just leave that as it is for now and save that script. Let's see if it's working. Let's go to Unity, and this car here, car 1, we do not want it to use this car control script. So I'm actually just going to untick it from there and find our script we made and drag it onto car 1. Now you'll notice there is a little error message coming back down here. When you do these things, you need to make sure they match completely. And there's one section I didn't check, which is at the top. On this one, it also says using Unity standard assets cross-platform, which when you've seen the messages come up before about it missing, this is why it comes up with the message saying it's missing, because your script is asking for it. So you need to put this at the top as well. You don't need to worry about having too many, you just need to worry about having some missing. So let's resave that. So that should go away in a second, but car 1 should be unticked to the car user control and should have player 2 car control on there. Now I'll press play. Player 1, which